anything, because you guys politicians are good at.
I prefer statesmen over politics.
Oh, okay, statements are fine.
Of course, Bob, I've known Bob for many years. I mean, you know, for how many years ago did you start the little theater out here?
Quite a- it's
Yeah, it was a long time
10,
ago.
12 years ago.
Yeah, we
right?
did.
Yeah.
I think I did 2 or 3 plays with
Absolutely,
you.
you were a senator in one of them, I believe.
Yeah, I think I was, yeah.
And did a very
Yeah,
good job, and
yeah.
then later you became a commissioner here and
Yeah.
fit right in.
That's right, fit right in. Yeah. Well, I moved here in 1982 with my then 7-year-old son. And some of the things I've been thinking about while I've been listening to the other gentlemen speak is when I first moved here, I was trying to think, to draw comparisons between now and what it was back in 1982. And the Careless Navigator restaurant on Gulf Boulevard and 116th was there, which is now condominiums. Of course, we all remember the miniature golf course, which was there for many, many years, which is no longer there. Also, where Sun Catch 1, 2, and 3 are, those were just empty fields at the time. And I remember when I first moved here, for the first few years that I had lived here, my son and I would go there and would fly kites there, because it was the only open place to fly kites unless you went down to the beach. From what I hear, from what I remember from many years ago back in the 40s, that used to be a landing strip for people who would fly their planes in, their private planes, land there, do some fishing, play on the beach and stuff. And then I think back in the 40s, it was going to be used for a hospital or nursing home or something. And then the area from 3rd Street to 4th Street on the Isle of Capri, that to this day I believe is zoned commercial. And the reason for that was they were going to have tenement building rooms there for the people that worked at that place. So things have certainly evolved over the years. I first moved to Florida. The first time I came to Florida, I came down with my parents on a Greyhound bus, and I was about 9 or 10 years old, and they were thinking about moving to Florida, and I was hoping they would, but as it turns out, they weren't able to make the move, so we went back, but it always stuck in the back of my mind. And then as years went on, I'll be dating myself, we remember the show Flipper.
Right,
and I used to
yeah.
think to myself, boy, would I love to live like that, walk out my back door, get in my boat and go play in the water and stuff. So it always stayed in the back of my mind. So I was born and raised in Philadelphia. The only way to get out of Philadelphia at that time was to enlist in the Army, which I did. Never went back to Philadelphia. When I ETS from the Army, I came down to St. Petersburg, bought a home, got married in St. Petersburg, loved Treasure Island from the first time I went out here. And when we first got married, came out to Treasure Island, and at that time, in 1973, the homes were averaging, on Isle of Capri, were averaging between $60,000 and $65,000. The house I am now living in sold for $60,500, and I couldn't afford to buy the house then. So, but it always stayed in the back of my mind. So 8 years later, when my son was 7 years old, we came out here and we bought the same house for $130,000. So, but
What year was that?
that would have been 1982. So, and I've lived in that house now half my life and raised my son there. And my son has always been very interested in any type of water sports, surfing, and he used to go surfing out here on the beach from the time he was 8, 9 years old when the wind would blow. And so he got very interested in the weather. I bought him a weather radio, and we would always be out in the boats and different things like that. And because of that, he became a meteorologist, and that's what he does now. He's a meteorologist. So, and we always used to have a sailboat in the summer that we would use in the wintertime, and we'd use a motorboat in the summertime. So I wound up reliving the life of Flipper when I grew up.
Dolphins at your back door.
Yeah, with dolphins.
Which we
on
used
my
to
back
call
door.
porpoise back then.
Yeah, right, yeah, but now you have to be politically correct, so you call them dolphins. So yeah, it's been a wonderful experience. I wouldn't want to live anyplace else. I've done quite a bit of traveling, and I really have to admit that I wouldn't want to live anyplace else than where I'm living right now. You know? So, yeah, it's been wonderful.
Wow, I mean,
So, trying to think of other things.
excitement, adventures that you might have incurred out here, or?
Well, let's see. I remember one time, this was years ago, you might remember this, Bob, that a plane landed on the beach, on Treasure Island Beach, remember?
Yes, I do.
This was, and to tell you the truth, I'm not sure if it landed after 1982 or pre-1982.
We've had a few plane incidents
Yeah,
out here.
yeah.
And, but they took off, didn't they, or they put on a trailer?
Well,
actually.
what they had to
They
do,
put on a trailer.
I think what they do was they dismantled it.
Yeah, took the wing.
And actually, about 10 years ago, I was in a small plane that went down in the Gulf.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
and they had to tow us.
Close by?
Right off Fort DeSoto.
Really? Wow, that's,
So,
recall that.
So,
You ran out of gas or engine problem?
no, the person who was flying the plane stalled it. And it was a seaplane, and it just kind of took a nosedive in, so.
Good landing or?
There's
Pretty rough.
any landing you walk away
It's
from,
a
like
good
they say,
landing.
is a good landing, yeah, so. Other interesting things that had happened, boy, there's so many different things. I think about how the place has changed. For example, the clock tower wasn't there.
Yeah.
There were many fewer condominiums, and of course, no one heard of hotel condos back then.
Right.
Of course, back then when I moved here, we had the old Johns Pass Bridge, we had the old Treasure Island Bridge, we had the old East and West bridges, and now under construction is the new bridge on the Isle of Capri and Isle of Palms. And one of the things I'm enjoying is I now have a 3.5-year-old granddaughter, Genevieve Collins.
Congratulations.
And I'm now doing many of the things that I did with my son at 7, I'm starting to do with her at 3.5.
So you kind of missed the miniature golf right at the,
Yeah.
not
So,
far from the house. and,
yeah, but we'll find other ways to compensate for it,
Sure.
I'm sure. But yeah, we're just having a wonderful time. I just love it here. I wouldn't ever think about leaving. So,
Phil, thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
You're doing a great job here with the city.
well, thank you very much. I
Commissioner,
appreciate that.
Representing your
It's
district well.
Yeah, it's absolutely been a pleasure for me.
We
It
thank
really
you
has
for
been. Yeah.
your help and participation in
Okay.
this project.
And thank you for all your help putting this together. This will be wonderful for generations to come. And Donna, you're doing a wonderful job with the Historical Society. It's all been really, really very good. Very
Thank
good.
you, Phil.
Thank you, sir.
We hope you enjoyed the history and the tales of Treasure Island. There's more to come. We have over 57 hours of the tales of Treasure Island. So as soon as we can get them to you, we will. Thanks for watching Tales of Treasure Island.